This is why I remind you to fan into flames the spiritual gift God gave you when I laid my hands on you. For God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline.
I'm all trying to keep up with it and read, dude. I'm like, where did that come from? I'm down here, I was like, you said this, and I see that. So I'm like, and I'm all, that is why I'm suffering here in prison. I'm like, wait a minute, what the?
What are you reading?
Yeah, dude, I'm freaking,
Sorry,
I'm so far in left field right now. Like, and then I'm all like, what the hell?
I threw you a knuckleball.
Oh, yeah,
My
dude.
bad.
Cheese and rice. Welcome to Bumper Sticker Wisdom. I'm Jason.
I'm John.
Brother John's going to say a quick little prayer, and we'll get started.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time. We thank you for this opportunity. We ask that you just help us to commit ourselves to it. We surrender our hearts, minds, and tongues to you, and ask that you, Holy Spirit, guide the conversation in a direction that's going to help somebody. Father, we just want to lift up anybody who's listening right now, no matter what they're dealing with, that they can turn to you and that there is hope found in relationship with you. Father, we thank you, we love you, and it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Whew. We haven't started an episode like that in a while. It's just kind of off base. Like,
Oh, yeah, dude. We had a good, I don't know, we've probably been chopping it up for close to an hour.
yeah, went on a little bender there for a minute.
Went on a full-on tangent. Okay. Anywho, to go back to kind of what we were talking about, and I was saying that, and I hope we didn't just use up some good content.
Yeah.
We were talking about the difference between, well, we've talked about this several times, and I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but
Yeah, for sure.
we had a very good conversation, and
Yeah.
we were talking about the difference between how we have it versus how they have it. And we were talking about, at the time, the greatest miracle that they had seen, other than the plagues and all that stuff, was, the parting of the Red Sea.
Right.
And they actually got to walk across dry land. And we talked and giggled about how they rode horses and chariots across there.
Right.
And it wasn't just man, that's luck, whatever.
Yeah.
We don't have that luxury, dude. Everything that we're doing right now is faith-based.
Yeah.
Face-based.
Face-based. You literally said
I did say face-based. But everything that we do is faith-based.
Right.
And for them, we were talking about how sometimes your struggle is your comfort.
Right.
And they were getting rescued and they were still begging to go back.
Right.
And they were seeing all these miracles and they were just like, I don't know.
That was kind of the spark of that conversation, was it's like, man, how do you experience things like,
I know it was a crappy. I know a lot of it was crappy. They were treated like dogs. They were, everything was, and that was based off our Bible roulette. So if you pay attention to our podcast, you will see our Bible roulette.
Yeah.
You will understand where we're coming from.
Yeah.
But that's part of the Bible roulette too.
yeah.
We're talking about the people that were struggling, treated like dogs and all that stuff. And we started talking about the Israelites, like how that plays into them, because I told you that's what that reminded me of.
Yeah, about how God's promises is purified like silver, refined in fire
Seven times over.
Yeah, so it's that pure. That's the whole point of that. But it was like, I think the encouragement, and that's what I was getting at, was like the encouragement of it is like, look how much they witnessed and how far they would fall so fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But God would come back every single time and be like, hey, look, just come back to me. Just come back to me. You know what I mean? And so probably the greatest miracle of the Old Testament, without question, is the parting of the Red Sea.
So the Lord's promises are pure. So
Right.
he's promising. So we'll start verse 5. Next time you guys need to check out our Bible roulette. The Lord replies, I have seen the violence done to the helpless, and I have heard the groans of the poor. Now I will rise up and rescue them as they have longed for me to do. The Lord's promises are pure like silver refined in a furnace, purified 7 times over.
Yeah. I will rise up and rescue them.
Yeah.
right? And that's probably why the whole Moses thing stands out to you, right? Because that's who God sent. God sent Moses, and there was a time when he was ready to smite Moses.
Yeah,
right?
he's like, listen, you lit liquor. Yeah, no, dude.
Yeah. And how many times was God not happy with one of his servants, right? David is a great example.
Yeah.
Abraham is a great example as well.
Keep in mind, David was a man after God's own heart.
Yeah, 100%.
He was also an adulterer. He was a murderer. And so
other
next time
things.
you want to judge yourself,
Yeah.
I mean, think about it this way. Yeah, man.
We're getting
because
comparison bias.
Yeah, but we also talked about this not too long ago. We talked about the we were talking about like the sin, like repetitive sin.
Right.
Like there's
where's the line?
Yeah, where's the line? Like when you're just repetitive and repetitive and repetitive, and like it's like you go in and you're like, dang, a sin. But we also talked about how like when you do that, it's like, dude, man, like let's say an individual is an easy one is lustful, because that's probably 90% of the people in the world.
Yeah, especially men.
So let's just say a person's lustful and they run across something and in their mind they're like, I wonder what that's like.
Yeah.
That's a lustful eye. That's a sin. That's
You've undressed somebody with your fake eyes
so
already.
you take that and you immediately realize it, and you like you pray, God, please forgive me for my sins. I've sinned. Blah blah blah. I'm a sinner. I'm a lustful man, or whatever. And then the next day it happens again. Where I think I messed up that episode was saying that, well, at that point you're like a serial sinner.
Yeah.
Well, dude,
we're all serial sinners.
And you're taking away the value of the blood if you consistently just like, man, this is who I am. I just can't get over it. No, but you're still trying. You're fighting. You know the difference. You know what you're doing. You're making a conscious effort to better yourself. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's about that content of your character and the content of your heart.
Yeah, if you are comfortable with sinning, if you sin and you're like, we'll make it up tomorrow.
Right. There's a big difference between going, well, you paid for it, so and going, damn it,
I don't want to devalue the blood.
Yeah. It's going, damn it. I know that was wrong, and I'm so sorry, Father.
But
Thank you that your blood paid for it.
Yeah, but immediately following, when you hardcore just fudge the pooch, your conscience is like, dude, you're like, man, I'm so ashamed of myself. Like, that was horrible. God. That was a horrible thing to say, or that was a horrible thing to do, or that was a horrible way to think, or that was a horrible way to act. Like, you know it, you feel it. Like, we're supposed to be a representation of Christ.
Golly, yeah.
Dude, let road rage happen to you. You know what I mean?
Get on the highways.
Yeah, dude, you are not representing very well, you know?
Yeah.
Keep in mind, this is a man that he could talk anybody out of any situation. Look what he did with Mary Magdalene.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's wandered astray, and he goes back. She comes back to him, and she's like, I was afraid of you. Why not? You're my child.
Yeah. Yeah. He said, you redeemed me, and I threw it all away. He goes, it's not much of a redemption.
Yeah.
If you could throw it all away in a day.
Yeah. Come on, dude.
Come on, man. Calm down.
Yeah.
I think, gosh, there's so much there. There's so much in that. We have to focus on where we are. And I think the more in relationship that we get, the more we understand ourselves, right? And we start to understand where we fall short. The crazy thing is we're very good at understanding our negatives and not understanding our positives.
Well, because as humans, we've been taught to be realists, literal.
Very. Yeah.
So when you think about it, you're everything's, no good deed goes unpunished, no bad deed goes unrecognized. It's that kind of situation. So when you mess up once, it's like, we're always taught that everything that you do is punishable. So in our minds,
Yeah.
We're right back to that. So when you screw up in your walk or your relationship or your prayer or whatever it may be, it's like you immediately find yourself unworthy. Also, too, I think it has to do with a lot of the ways that people come up in life.
Right.
I mean, there's a huge amount of kids that aren't raised in both parent households. There's a lot of split families, blended families.
That is a plague of its own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you look at it like that, and every kid, when they mess up, they think,
yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not worthy. Because, dude, I don't remember like my mom and dad going through a divorce, but I've been friends with kids that their parents go through a divorce, and
right.
They're all blaming it on themselves. Like, what did you do? You didn't make your dad bang that old lady. I mean, not literal, but you know what I mean?
I get that. I guess,
but you understand the situation.
I guess the question is what do you do about it? Like, how, other than, okay. What I'm hearing and a lot of what I'm thinking about is testimony, right? Because your testimony is what Christ has brought you through, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, I spent some time talking to a young man today at work about testimony, and he was talking to me about kind of his past, and I was like, he knows about our podcast, and I was like, you know, my partner, similar. I mean, he was talking about he had a really bad drug habit and all that kind of stuff, and I was like, man, if you ever listen to the podcast, bro, he's pretty open about it, pretty transparent, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, about having that struggle and really just talking about what Christ has brought us through, right? And I was like, mine isn't so much like that. Like, I don't have a physical addiction problem or anything like that, per se. I mean,
No, but you got an emotional addiction.
I do. I have a need to be.
It's not so much
Affirmation. I need affirmation.
Yeah, but it
But I hate compliments.
But it stems from a lack of affirmation as a child. So you have an addiction to wanting to feel needed,
Right.
wanting to feel wanted, wanting to feel valuable. We all secretly have that.
Right.
Yours is just a little more compelling because of the situation that you come through growing up.
Right.
Mine is a physical addiction. It's not an emotional addiction. Mine is a physical addiction. And I've said this 100 times too. Like, dude, just because you are a recovering addict doesn't mean that you're not still an addict.
Yes.
Because the temptation is always there. Everything is always there, and everything's always waiting in the backdrop. You know, it takes one little thing.
Yeah.
Have a bad day, run into the wrong friend, and your whole life can get flipped upside down. You have to be very vigilant. Very vigilant. And this is one of the things that I like to say this because as a recovering addict, when you are going through that, when you can talk about it and you can be transparent, that is your best fight.
Yeah.
To me it's almost like praying.
Yeah.
Because you're staying on your toes, like you understand the things that are going on, you understand the effects that those things can happen, and you're keeping them in front of you, and you're letting other people know, like, hey, man, this is what I used to go through.
Going through it.
It's still going through it, and you're still talking about it, and you're being very transparent. You're not trying to hide it, because once you start trying to hide it, that's when everything starts to unravel.
So you think that there's a level of realness that comes from actually saying it out loud? Because I can imagine that
the tongue has the power of life and death.
Right.
Dude, it's 1,000%. That statement has never made more sense until you are an addict.
Yeah.
And you can sit and you can say, hey, because I remember all the lies I used to tell people that I cared about, and all the things I used to hide.
At the same time that you're saying that you're lying to them inside your heart and mind, you're telling yourself, God, I'm so messed up, man.
Yeah.
But you're not saying it out loud, right?
But that's your conscience. That's what I'm saying. That's the same way when you're sinning. Like you're in the middle of your sin and you're still eating crow. You're like, God, man, you're trying to crawfish from this thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
That's a spiritual battle that you're having. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
If it's easy, if I was out lying to all these people and I was out doing all these drugs and it was easy for me to do that, and I never batted an eye and I never felt bad about it, and the people that I cared about that I was hurting and they saw me going through this and I kept lying to them and telling them, no, everything, I'm clean. No, dude, I'm a piece of shit for that. But if you can go through that and you feel bad about it, and then you can come clean, like I told you, I sat down with my mom and I come clean to her and I told her, and I'm sure it was shocking at first, but she's like, yeah, I know he's good now.
Yeah.
I can literally sit down and tell people all the things that I've done. And it's actually, I don't have that. Okay. Prime example. I had a colonoscopy Friday, right? And they're asking me all the medical questions and everything. And I'm in the recovery room, getting dressed or getting prepped, changing. And the lady's asking me medical questions. And it says here, you had a history with meth. Your last date of use was in 2017. I said, yes, ma'am. She goes, it makes no difference to me one way or the other. And I was like, well, just ask me. I'll tell you. And, after I got done getting ready and everything, she parted the curtain. She's like, sorry, I have to ask this question. What are you sorry for? I don't care. Ask me. I'll tell you. Right? I don't ask me. I don't care. I'll tell you. I'll tell anybody.
Yeah.
But the part of me telling everybody is that I've also helped people.
Yeah. 100%.
There's been a handful of people that I've actually helped draw out of that because I'm like, listen, dude, like, man, you're doing so good for having that kind of background. I'm like, well, first and foremost, God gave me the strength and the wisdom and helped me overcome this. He didn't just do it to me, but do you know how he did it? He put a woman in my life that was strong enough to accept me for what I was,
right,
and not judge me for it, and listen to me when in my dire times of need, right. I would go to her and talk to her, and I'd be like, listen, I don't need you to say anything. I just need you to let me get this off my chest. Like, I need to get it out. And she would let me do it.
Yep.
I said, babe, I'm here. I got you. What else do you need?
Power of testimony.
Yeah, a little bit of hugs, a little bit of loves. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, but a little scratch on the back, man.
But people would ask, and I would tell them.
Yeah.
At the time, I didn't understand what was happening. I really didn't. It wasn't until we started actually doing the Bible study and I started regularly attending church and I started actually listening to other people's testimonies and stuff. I was like, man, that's God. I had the hand of God in my life saying, listen,
come on,
yeah, quit, douche. You know what I mean?
Bro. Oh man. Okay. So before I move on to that thought, what God gave me and what God has given me in my relationship and what has been my weakness and really still is, I still struggle with it, like what you're talking about, has been that I was taught that I didn't have value. What God has given me is that I am valuable.
Yeah.
I have a purpose. He designed me for a purpose, right? I don't necessarily know what that purpose is other than advance his kingdom. How and what that looks like, but I don't know.
It's never going to look like what you think it's going to look like. It's always something different. Just look at any story.
Yeah.
It's always different than what you think it's supposed to look like. It's always different.
100%.
But if you're always putting yourself in a position to be
in the story.
Yeah. Or a fisher of men, if you're always casting and baiting your hook, dude.
You won't catch a big fish eventually.
At some point, you're going to start reeling people in.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And so that's another part of like this. We talked about about the show.
Yeah.
Are you willing to do God's will willingly? Both of us are like, yes. We testify to that. Put our right hand on the Bible, and no, we really do that, but. and then it's even if it helps one person, we've achieved our job.
Yeah.
So we're halfway through year 2, not halfway through. We're a quarter of the way through year 2.
3. This is year 3.
Okay. So we're a quarter of the way through year 3.
Yep.
Shingao.
Yeah.
We're a quarter of the way through year 3. There has got to at some point been more than one. That has been like, I'm not saying that they've just devoted their lives, but they've been like, hey,
yeah,
I need to say a prayer. Because all it takes is a spark, dude. I mean, You look at West Texas. Right now, we're dry, dude. And one spark lights the whole state on fire.
Oof,
We've been dealing with this.
Lying, yeah.
So all it takes is the power of a spark.
100%. And that's a great image, a great metaphorical image. We don't want that to happen physically, but the metaphor of, man, just a spark in the middle of a dry field in our area when the wind is kicked up can burn thousands upon thousands of acres.
You can take someone that's just getting, the ever loving piss beat out of them by life, and sometimes that's all it takes, dude. The enemy is going to beat on you until you start getting close to drawing to God, and he's going to let off. But at some point, you're going to get beat on enough that you're going to be like, you're going to hit your knees, you're going to bow your head, and you're going to pray. And when you do that, hopefully for you, that draws you in.
Yeah.
It may or may not, but at least at that point in time, you stopped the enemy from having that winning battle over you because you hit your knees and you prayed. You prayed to God. I mean, like you prayed. You gave our divine creator his recognition.
But it's about sincerity, right? You can't do that fake.
No.
Right? It's just like this whole thing, you know what I mean? Like the naysayers and the atheists or, whatever, people that are just choose not to believe or whatever will be like, well, I just live my whole life doing whatever the heck I want. And at the end be like, oh, I accept Jesus. No.
That's not how that works.
You can't do it fake. You know what I mean? Because to be honest with you, if you're going to do that, the whole time Jesus has been there.
He knows.
Right? Yeah,
he knows.
Yeah.
He's like,
You can't just do it that way. It ain't going to work. So, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, but I'm kind of shifting gears. Did you have something still
well,
on that?
Well, it's kind of on the subject, like we talked about using your relationship as an insurance policy.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So sometimes I'll catch myself like in the morning. It's usually in the morning. I'll catch myself and I'll either had a bad night, like we all had a great time Saturday night.
Yeah.
And I caught myself in a very, very obscure situation when I got up and I felt guilty because I was pounding them back, dude, honestly. And you know how hard I've been trying to work on the not drinking and the not doing all this stuff. And I'd been doing really good. Mm-hmm. And I woke up and I felt horrible about myself, and I kind of put it off throughout the day, kind of cleaned the house and everything. And then finally I went in the bathroom to go take a shower. It's probably 3:00 in the afternoon. That's how horribly lazy I was yesterday.
After I text you? Because I could tell because you were being a little short with your responses with me when I was like, hey, bro, how you doing?
Yeah.
And then I was like, hey, bro, I got a little messed up last night.
Yeah, so I got in the shower and I was like, hey, man, I prayed. And I prayed like I felt like at the time I prayed like, man, I just need to get this off my chest kind of thing. Not really like, hey, I need to speak to you, Lord. It was kind of like, hey, I just got to get this out.
Right.
But then I was getting out, and I kind of felt bad about it. Then as I was getting out of the shower, I was kind of like, man, it takes a lot to understand that anyways. And then to recognize like, hey, dude, I really just need to. Prayer life is prayer life. It doesn't matter what brings you there.
100%.
Like if you feel guilty because you haven't prayed and you go and you pray, that's prayer life because something is telling you like, dude, you haven't spoke to God in a while.
Yeah.
You need to make a conscious effort to go talk to him.
Right. It's like communicating with people you care about. You know what I mean? Like I think about it all the time with all my kids are grown, right?
Yeah.
Well, you're in the same boat, right? All your kids are grown. And so
I still got one little knucklehead.
Oh, that's right.
I still got one little knucklehead.
I forgot. Sorry, I forgot. Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like you get to that thing and you're like, man, I haven't reached out in a while, and they haven't reached out to me either. It's not like, and there's a part of you that wants to be selfish and be like, well, if you're not going to reach out to me, I'm not going to reach out to you. And it's like,
dude, okay, so let me just tell you this. It doesn't matter who hasn't reached out. Because eventually at some point with no one reaching out, it gets so awkward that no one will reach out.
Right.
And I'm at that point with one of mine.
Yeah.
Like neither one of us have even made a conscious effort to try to talk to each other in so long that now it's like, well, what do we even talk about?
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to say?
Love you.
Yeah. Yeah. She's going to be like, no, you don't. Like, you haven't talked to me in, I don't know. It's been
a minute.
It's been a long time. It's probably been pretty close to a year. No, it hadn't been close. Yeah, it's been a while.
Been a while.
Yeah.
Somewhere around the Thanksgiving mark.
Well, it was a little after that. There was a couple times.
Yeah.
But
I faced the same issue, not only with my kids, but with my brother and sister. Right? I've talked to numerous times about, like, we talk to each other once a year. I see them once a year on Christmas or the Christmas holiday season. You know what I mean? And I've tried to make a more concerted effort to reach out and just say, hey, how are you? Love you. You know what I mean? Even if we don't have a lot of conversation, if we don't see each other, that's fine. You know, I've gotten to that point in my life now where it's like, you know, I shouldn't take that for granted. They are still brother and sister. You know what I mean? And life has taught me that your family isn't necessarily blood. You know what I mean? We've had that conversation too. You know what I mean? Like, I look at you dead serious, like family. Like, I would jump in front of a bullet for you just like I would give one for you, you know?
Yeah, and hopefully at this point you understand that the exchange is the same.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
It's not a one-way street.
Yeah, 100%.
We do go through things in life differently.
For sure.
I mean, there's prime example today when you sent me your Bible readings.
check-in,
Yeah. I I already told you my day was kind of
yeah.
I was in the like so I open my phone and look at it. I'm like, all right, I gotta get something in. So I open my Bible and I read Psalm. That's where I come up with our Bible roulette today. So I open my Bible and I get into that, and then I get on TikTok and I'm looking at like some of the different not meanings of it, but different ways people are interpreting it and stuff. Because, you know, immediately what comes to me is Moses and the Israelites.
Yeah.
That
makes sense.
I'm so sorry. So anyways, immediately what comes to me is Moses and the Israelites. So I'm just kind of doing a little background check, think nothing of it. And then I get home and I see your car and it's like, light bulb, like, dude, I didn't even respond to you. And then I'm like, crap, man, I got to get in here and I got to get something to eat real quick. And then I got to get all my crap together and then I need to get out here.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Sometimes it just.
Well, hey, look, man, we're going to go through phases of, you know, heat and beat, right? You know what I mean? And there's times where things are getting
the forging
hot,
process.
and there's going to be times where things are getting beat on. And, you know, last week was a tough week for me, man. And I felt bad because I wasn't real committed to it. And not just that I wasn't committed to it, I was getting stretched pretty thin.
Well, what got me committed today was you sent that, and I was like, man, I don't think I read a verse all last week.
Yeah, One day I'd text you, and I was like, dude, I'm sorry I haven't had any chances again. And you were like, I'm fixing to read a chapter or two.
I said I was fixing to try to get a chapter in.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I ever did.
But you were on a construction project at the same time you're trying to do your regular job and all this other stuff. And like, I get it. We're all going through things. Yeah. We're going to go through things. Something structed. God dang it, John.
Something instructed or structed?
He struck it in my nose.
He broke it in my nose.
I think he did it on purpose.
I think he did too.
Son of a bee. It was something we were talking about with like God's concern for us, and he's just like, dude, bro, stop it. And I was thinking about Job, chapter 1, right? This is the crazy thing to me. It was something that struck me.
You know what drives me nuts about the story of Job? Mm-hmm. Is his name spelled like Job. That's like, where's the E? It should be J-O-B-E, Job.
Not J-O-B, because we see job.
Yeah.
Dang it, I got a job, not a Job.
Yeah. I'm gonna go on a Job interview. What? You know what I mean? Like, that's what drives me nuts. Other than that, it's the best story ever.
I agree with you. But in chapter 1, right at the beginning of the story, it talks about how Job is a righteous man. He's wealthy. You know what I mean? He has 10 children, 7 sons and 3 daughters. He has 7,000 sheep. He's wealthy. He's doing good. Life's good.
Yeah, and God comes in and says,
no,
the enemy comes in and says, if I take all this, and God says, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, right. But here's what struck me. It's something, I don't know why I didn't think about it like this before. It was God's randomly concerned about you. The enemy's randomly concerned about you, right? Like, this is a random interaction between God and the enemy. It just says the enemy appears in the heavenly courts, right? And God's like, hey, have you seen my servant Job?
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, bro, don't bring me up like that. You know what I mean?
No, but here's the thing. So, okay, this will go to show you just how powerful the enemy is.
Yeah.
How does he appear in the heavenly courts in front of God?
And he's like, where'd you come from?
Yeah. How does, enemy sneaky, dude. Sneaky. That's sneaky.
But it just struck me about how God was randomly at a random moment, he's focused on and paying attention to.
Yeah, so you seen my servant Job?
Look what Job's up to.
If you take away this, he'll curse you.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
And then he took it all away, and Job didn't curse him. And he's like,
take away this.
He's still healthy.
Yeah, take away that.
Bro,
take away his family.
Think about in Job chapter 1, all of his wealth and all of his children gone.
In an instant.
Within a chapter.
Yeah.
And then a few chapters later, his friends are like, dude, you did something terrible.
Yeah.
And you're like,
they're cursing him. They're like, dude, and his wife's trying to talk him into laying down and dying already. Yeah. Like, why don't you just curse God and die already?
What?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Some wife you married. You know what I mean?
But, and maybe that's why we're so quick to go, man, the enemy's just attacking you right now. You know what I mean? And maybe it's not the enemy. Maybe it's just maybe it's just a consequence of an action.
Okay, so first and foremost.
Go ahead.
The word consequence is such it's so loosely thrown out there because I promise you
taboo now.
I promise you this. If you are going through something, it literally is. I 100% believe that it is a test of the enemy, or it is something to do with the enemy. The enemy has his finger in it, and he's stirring the chili.
100%.
At some point, I do not think that, all evil is the lack of good. Okay, so when bad shit is happening to you, and I'm not talking about bad like, oh man, I ran out of gas, because that's human error.
Yeah. I'm
talking about when bad shit's happening to you. I'm talking about bad shit. Like you've just found out that, everything in your life has been a lie. And you found out in like a very obscure way, like just, or one of your friends starts doing something very inappropriate with your wife or whatever. I fully believe that that's the enemy, like trying to prod at you.
That's our opportunity, right? And that's what we're all supposed to be here for. Right, we're supposed to be prepared in those moments to be representation of
the
God.
Enemy, what a lot of people are going to hear that and they're going to think, "Oh, the enemy." So the enemy told your friend and your wife to sleep together. No, what the enemy does is he works on them too. Yeah, but it's something to do with, dude. You can't. When bad things like that happen, you can't say that he's not involved. I don't feel that way. I don't think it's like, okay, so if your friend and your wife sleep together, the enemy was working on your friend, giving him the wrong eyes and the wrong mood and the wrong morals and all that stuff, and working on your wife in the same way.
Right.
What is more holy than the union? That is one of the greatest things that God has ever done, is put man and woman together.
It says that two become one flesh.
Yeah. The enemy hates that. The enemy hates that. So he's going to do everything he can to break that kind of thing up.
Yeah. And okay, if two are going to become one flesh, then that means we are the same person. We are the same soul. We have the same mission, right? This is why, okay, and look, this is not about man above woman. It's none of that. Please understand that. This is, God created Eve as help because man can't do it alone, right? Because Eve brings something to the table that Adam can't.
Every woman brings something to the table that a man can't. Just like every man brings something to the table that a woman can't. 100%. And this is going to be very confrontational, and this is going to be very controversial. But that is why it is very important to recognize that man and woman
are not the same thing.
So when you get people that are harping on this issue about, oh, well, I can do anything a man can. No, you can't.
You may be able to do a lot.
You can't pee standing up and hit a target. We'll just start there. Just like I can't give birth to a child. You know what I mean?
100%.
There's certain things that just women cannot do that men can. And men cannot do that women can.
Here's a good example, actually, of that. You know who Serena Williams is?
Yeah.
Without question, the greatest female tennis player of all time.
Oh, yeah.
She herself said the bottom man would smoke me. The bottom man in men's tennis would destroy me.
Okay, so let's just do this. There is and I'm not going to say names, but there is a controversial track transgender person in California. Very confidential, and it's been, I don't know that it's still a very confidential, or I don't know if it's still a big deal, but it used to be a huge deal.
Yeah.
And this was a dude that couldn't qualify in anything
as a
male, but goes out there and is freaking just stroking all these chicks. I mean, just whooping the dog piss out of them.
Burning them up.
Yeah. And that right there will go to show. And these chicks have been doing this. And that's what's sad about it, is these girls have been doing this their whole lives. And then you get some dude that decides that he wants to be a chick for the day. It's not really how it goes, but I'm just being hypothetical. I'm just talking shit.
Well, okay. I'll say this. Amanda Nunes would beat the out of me.
Yeah.
Out of me.
Oh, yeah.
Another MMA fighter, male, even that's not a ranked male, bro. She has even said, I can't hang with them.
No, because it's the law of physics, dude. Men are bigger, men are stronger.
They're built for that.
Yeah. You also got to take, when it comes into I get my ass beat by 95% of the women in the world probably right now. I'm not in fighting shape. I'm not. No. That's not what I want to do. I'm too old. I don't care.
Yeah.
If you want to, like, if you threaten me like I'm going to beat your ass, I'm like, probably, but I'm going to go in here and have a beer. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm out of here. But at the same, I'm not going to fight with these. I'm going to fight with this. You know what I'm saying? But you get someone, okay, you get some undercard, I mean, just random dude.
Yeah.
That has been training.
Rank 100.
Yeah. Dude.
It's not going to be fair.
No.
It's not fair.
No.
It's not a knock on. Look, you can compete against other women,
dude. But okay,
and should.
Okay, but this in the same sense. Let's take something like this. Okay, when you want to take the creative eye for what women do for households.
Oh gosh.
Okay, and you pit that up against any man. 90% of the time. I mean, I don't know. I can't even imagine competing with my wife when it comes to decorating our home, because she's like, "What do you think about this?" I'm like, "It looks like shit." And then she makes me hang it anyways. Then I step back. I'm like, "Damn, that looks good." You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, look, I can't imagine
the physical attributes of it are where it's at.
Right?
You can't take if it's going to be physical. It's going to be really hard for a male and a female in the same field for that female to beat that male. But if you want to take it mental, emotionally stable, the whole nine, it's going to be really hard for a man in that field to beat a woman in that field.
Exactly. And that's exactly why, by a large margin, men outnumber women in suicide rate. Because we don't know how to process and handle our emotions.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
This up here is a slippery stage. Is essentially what it is, and
it's a minefield,
dude. And when you get close to the edge, you just slide right off. I mean,
100%. Wow,
can you imagine? No,
gosh.
I mean, okay. So let's just talk about this. Okay, can you imagine being a suicide survivor? And I'm not saying thought about it and didn't. I'm saying you actually attempted
and it didn't.
And it didn't happen. Can you imagine being the person that survives that and the things that are going through your mind after that? Because what I've always kind of felt is that you're gonna, when you get decapitated, you live long enough to see your body sitting there squirming without a head.
Right.
So let's say you shoot yourself and you're going to live long enough to regret it probably. Like you're probably going to be like, damn.
That was stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what you could do that would, I don't know how to explain it, but I really feel like there's a point there where you live long enough to regret it. And so can you imagine being a person that survives that and having that, are you instantly?
Well,
there's people that have shot themselves, that have tried to kill themselves and have lived. There are people that have tried to hang themselves and people have caught them. There's people that have tried to overdose and people have saved them.
There's people that have slit their wrists.
Yeah. There's people that have tried to have head-ons and survived. There's people that have gone just downright freaking loco.
I know for sure. My dad talked about trying to hang himself on that tree and the branch broke. Right.
Yeah.
I also know it's not as super visible now, but he cut his own arm. Yeah. You know what I mean? And tried to bleed himself out, and didn't make it, or didn't. No, I'm sorry. He made it, but he didn't accomplish what he was trying to accomplish. Yeah. And I think in the moment there was probably regret, but also irritation, because it's like, why can't I even get this right? You know what I mean? Like, I can only imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. See, and I have a different view of it. Like, I feel like at that point you got to be like, I haven't fulfilled my purpose. I mean, it goes the other way too. Like, let's say that you're just a reckless human being.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt this way about myself when I started coming out of all my crap. When I started actually recovering.
Yeah.
And started getting my life together, I felt like, okay, God had a plan for you, stupid. That's why you aren't, because I always told myself, man, if it wasn't for her, I would have either died or been in prison.
Right. And
I started to feel like, okay, listen.
That's a little bit of a discredit to God, a little bit.
God has a plan for you, stupid.
Right.
That's why you're not dead or in prison, is
right.
God has a vision that you haven't fulfilled that yet. So that's when you think about surviving a suicide attempt, it's like, okay, listen. There's obviously a plan that you haven't fulfilled what God has put you here for.
Right.
So at this point, you kind of got to take it on the chin and be like, all right, look, I got to do better. Not better at doing what you're trying to do to off yourself. You got to do better at being what you're supposed to be, what your calling is.
Right. Do you, do you still
this
struggle?
Got deep real fast.
Oh gosh, it's a great conversation though. Like, do you still struggle with that identity? Like with, okay, what is it that you're asking from me, God? What is it that I should be doing? I'll be honest with you.
Dude, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you tell me your side first, because I don't want to drop mine if yours is polar opposite, because then I'm just gonna be like, no, I don't.
It's only because I've learned to trust God that I don't. Right. Before, I would say, well, something's wrong with me. I'm not accomplishing what God has for me. Obviously, I'm not doing what God wants me to do. Right. And so there's something wrong with me. It's not God, it's me.
Yeah.
What I've started to recognize is God's plan is a lot more, in our view, frivolous. Does that make sense? It happens in such random ass ways. That's the thing. And so now I'm recognizing that God causes the dice to land, right? So he works in the random. That's how he works. You randomly have a conversation. I randomly had a conversation with a young man at work today that I've never thought. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you see where I'm at?
Okay, so ask that question again. Ask the question again.
Oh, gosh. I don't remember exactly how I
you're
asked
talking
it.
about, do you feel like it's a random act or?
Yeah. Do you feel like, do you still struggle
your calling?
with, with
what is your calling?
What that calling is,
okay.
and what does that look like?
So Yes and no, both at the same time. Yes,
Right.
I do struggle with it because I always feel like I'm not fulfilling my calling.
Right. Yeah.
But at
that
the
makes
same
sense too.
time,
Yeah.
everything that happens to me happens, like you said, so randomly. But as I'm starting to think like, okay, this is my calling, it keeps getting put off. It's like, oh, nope. Like, that's your calling, but not today. Oh, that's your calling, but not today. Oh, that's your calling. But that also, it really kind of brings into focus that it's God's timing.
100%.
Okay, he's going to throw the dice and he's going to let them land, but he ain't going to let you see what they are until he's ready for you to.
That's right.
So you're still watching the dice get thrown and you're thinking, yep, this is the calling. This is the calling.
This is it.
And
This is the one.
and you don't know. He never opens up and reveals it to you.
He's preparing you though the whole
It's like
time.
the whole way you're walking and you're thinking, man, I got this. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And then it's like you watch the dice land and you don't even get to see what it is, but you watch the dice land and you're like, no, this ain't it. And then you watch the dice land again and you don't get to see what it is, but you're like, this has got to be it. But in his own timing, he's going to let you see the face cards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's going to let you see his hand and you're going to be like, I knew it.
It's a royal flush.
I knew it. I knew this is what I was supposed to be doing.
It's because God has to, you have to be prepared for what God calls you for.
Yeah, he is not going. Okay. Prime example. Look what happens to 90% of the people that win the lottery.
They go broke.
They go broke.
Quickly.
Very quickly.
Or
because they don't know how to budget themselves. They don't know how to manage themselves. If God gives you all these blessings just over and over and over, and you don't ever experience any kind of turmoil or trauma, you're never going to know what it's like. So the first time it happens, panic mode. It's a catastrophe. Life's falling apart. You don't even know what to do. He's going to build you up by your character. He's going to make you he's not going to make you, but he's going to let you learn. He's going to let you struggle. He's going to let you figure things out. And then your blessings and the things that you're called to do, he's going to reveal to you. But he's not going to do that to you if you're still walking with the enemy and party hardy, living the joys of life with the enemy. He's not going to give he's not going to give those signs to you. He's not going to show you what your purpose is because, hey, look, man, if anybody knows anything about warfare, if the enemy knows your plan and he knows what God has in store for you, he's going to destroy that. So he makes sure that you're clear of that. Like he's going to make sure you're not walking that path with that dude no more. And then he's going to reveal it to you because, dude, it goes the same way for people in your life. If you have enemies in your life, like physical enemies in your life, and they know your plans, they're going to do everything they can to sabotage that.
Yeah.
God's not going to show you what your purpose is if you're still playing with this dude over here that's his sworn enemy. The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
You're still over there playing checkers while God's playing chess, and he's checkmated everything.
Yeah,
right?
He knows.
Yeah.
Like, this dude's wasting
He's already
his time.
predicted.
He's over here freaking playing with this dude. Look at the sand. Look at that dry ass sandbox. Crappy ass sand. You ain't got nothing to make a sand castle out of.
Yeah.
Here in a minute, you're gonna look over here. You're gonna see all these buckets and all this water and all these utensils, and you're like, man, I can make a real cool sandbox over there.
This kind of mirrors something that the pastor at our church was talking about yesterday, and he was like, when they started that church 20 some odd years ago, it started in a school, with 10 people, and he's like, I had the same anointing. I had the same faith. I'm the same person. Nothing in that regard has changed, right? And so I found myself questioning, why couldn't we start with this? Why couldn't we start with this church, with this place, with this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you got to go through the struggle, dude, or you're not going to know what success looks like.
You got to be built up.
If you start with success, you're never going to know what success actually looks like. You got to start with the struggle.
It
goes anything. Okay, so you take a kid right now, 18 years old, and you put him in my position, making my wage, they're doing everything that I do. I'm not saying that I'm not
we ain't
by
getting rich
far
out here.
doing great.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, as an 18-year-old kid, this would be one hell of a freaking startup.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And let's just put him in that position. And then what's going to happen? By the time he turns 19, he's going to expect twice. By the time he's 30, he's going to be like, dude, why am I still here?
Yeah.
You got to work your way up slowly. Yep. You got to start at the bottom. Dude, when you start at the bottom and you work your way up, when you get there, it's like,
look what we came through.
Yeah, I can't believe I make 5 figures a year.
Yeah.
Back when I was 18 or whatever, I made 4 figures a year. You know what I'm saying? Like, and, you get what I'm saying. I mean, that's a terrible analogy, but it's something to base it off of. You cannot expect to just have everything right now, a complete understanding, to know that God's purpose, to know all that stuff right now.
Yeah.
Dude, you know how overwhelming that would be?
You can't handle the truth.
No, dude. No
You gotta be stretched.
No way.
You gotta be stretched. You gotta be trained. You gotta learn how to.
Do you think people... okay, I'm going to take up Taekwondo. You think I'm going to be able to kick the top of that freaking arch right there? No. You know how long it's going to take me to get stretched out to kick that?
Yeah.
Same process. Same exact process. Dude, you got to train. You got to work your way into it.
Yeah. Aiden and I were talking about that yesterday because he called me. He's getting ready to advance in belt degrees from to purple. So he'd be purple, brown, black, right? And you got to go low purple, high purple, low brown, high brown, then black to black. And he's in kickboxing primarily. And we were kind of talking about that, and he was talking about how a lot of gyms, it's like they call them mech dojos because they're just pumping people in and out. And he's like, dude, there's so many people there that have black belts. And I'm like, they don't deserve that black belt.
But I'm gonna beat your ass.
It's 100%. But and it's like I was trying to tell him too. I was like, dude, you got to understand it's a business too, right? Like these dudes got to keep the lights on and keep the doors open.
They got to make people feel good about themselves.
Correct. I was like,
until they go out and get beat up on the street by freaking nobody.
Yeah, 100%. And that's one of the things I was trying to tell them. But I was like, but the thing is they thrive and desire students like you who show up and grind, and try to and want to get.
Yeah,
I don't just want to
beat the brakes off of 90% of them dudes too.
100%.
I mean, like, I probably beat the brakes off of 90% of them.
There's a gentleman that trains there that is a friend of my brother's. I've known him since I was like 14. He came in there and he's like, bro, you don't want to mess around with him. He's gifted. He's talented. Right? And I've tried to talk to him about it. He doesn't want to be, he's like me, he doesn't want to get filled too much with too much of his own hype. You know what I mean? Because he might start buying it. But I'm just saying, like, I love the fact that he's like, I want to earn it. I don't want to be given anything. And I'm going to go in there and I'm going to go hard and I'm going to grind and go against coaches. And look, the guy that runs the joint, he would destroy my son. Like, he would make him cry probably. He's that good. Yeah. But I'm just saying, there's just difference to it. There's levels to this stuff, right? And it's about earning it, right? God's not going to just give it to you. He can. Could he right now make everything different? Absolutely. But how does that help you?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, you've watched Bruce Almighty. You ever seen Bruce Almighty? Mm-hmm. Yes to all. Yeah. What happened? The whole world falls apart, man. Everything's falling apart. Because you can't say yes to everything. You have to work it. Yeah. You have to work through it. The thing that you want, you got to get there. We're not ready for millions of people listening to this, dude. We're not ready for that.
Oh, there's a reason.
There's a reason for that. Now, look, I think that we're getting better all the time. I truly do. And consistency is important, right? So consistently continuing to do what we're doing is part of that grind. You know what I mean? And there are going to be plenty of times where we're going to go, I don't know, man. I don't know if we should keep doing this. There's probably going to be hundreds of times, thousands of times.
There's already been times.
100%.
There's already been. Like, Dalma, if I sat here right now across from the table from you and I told you that I've never thought about it, I would be bold-faced lying to you, and I don't ever want to do that. I've thought about it. I'm like, dude, what the are we doing?
Yeah. Hey, bro, I have too.
But you know what I've also thought? Is I have been extremely blessed in my life.
Yeah.
I have been extremely blessed in my life. And I'm not talking about financially. I'm talking about spiritually, emotionally. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about with my wife. I'm talking about with my relationship with my mom. I'm talking about my relationship with you.
Right.
I'm talking about the untangibles, the things that you can't touch, taste, feel. Yeah. I'm talking about the hardcore things.
Yeah.
I have been extremely blessed. I've also kept myself very grounded because it's like, hey, this, you don't want to be a hypocrite. And I don't want to come out here and record with you and I'm living this whole double life, adulterer, or whatever. You don't want to be that dude. So you're constantly thinking about the things that you need to do to stay a good person.
Yeah. To be that example.
When I think of all those things, I sit and I think to myself, is it a coincidence or is it because we are doing God's will willingly?
It's part of the process.
I mean, we're not making money. We're not getting rich. We're not getting rich up in here.
No. We're doing that out of our own time, our own validity, our own thing, right?
But I can tell you what I am is I'm rich in faith.
100%.
I'm spiritually blessed. I'm blessed in my relationships. And dude, that's what scares me is like I think about like, dude, this is the one thing that I'm doing consistently.
Right.
And if you take that away, do I want to go back to not being blessed in these areas? Because I'm really enjoying this.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
and
then
so
what
then it
happens?
makes you, and then it starts to make you think like, okay, look, there's some meat and potatoes to this, there's some fillers in there, and you start to understand like, hey, look, man, I'm not saying I'm being favored by God, but I'm not saying that I'm not either.
100%.
And you're just out there trying to be a good person. Just look, man, we are not trying to lead anybody in a obscure way or trick anybody or lie to anybody or, because there's a special place for them kind of people.
Yeah.
But what we are trying to do is just genuinely lead people to Christ. And I feel like with that, there is something good happening to us.
And how do you do it? By being honest.
And just being but also too is just take away the human aspect, man. This isn't for us.
Nope.
We're not trying. Hey, I don't want. If I never get nothing from this, I'm totally okay with it because I'm getting it in other areas.
You've already gotten it.
I'm getting it in other areas.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But what I am trying to get out of this is I'm trying to spread the word.
That's it.
Trying to bring people closer.
Fisher of men.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not ever going to be inside. Well, I'm not going to say I'll never be inside of a church building on a stage. It may happen, but I'm not going to close that door because God may have that plan. But this is the avenue with which we're able to accomplish that without having the pressure of coming up with a message and standing on a stage. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because look, if we were pastors, we would be so much more prepared than we are. And I think that's the beauty of what we do, right? Bro, we come in here cold as ice every single time. Mm-hmm. And every single
There's
time.
no rehearsing.
No, there's no script.
Yeah, dude, we're free balling it every time.
100%. And every single time there is something, and again, maybe I'm biased. I could be. But to me, every single time there is something that's just like, this is God talking right now. It's not me and you. This is God speaking through us. You know what I'm saying?
It's the meat and potatoes.
It's the meat and potatoes. Who doesn't like meat and potatoes? If you don't, you're the problem, not me.
Did you hear about the guy that got his left side cut off?
His left side cut off?
His whole left side cut off.
No.
He's all right now.
Should have known. I had it. He's all right now.
I couldn't open with that one. I had to open with the other one. Or the commercial, whatever you want to call it.
I don't know why this one stood out today. Bryant McGill. Not sure who he is. You cannot save everyone. Some people are going to destroy themselves no matter how much you try to help them.
Facts. Golly.
We don't got a mic to drop, but that's it right there.
Facts. Damn, that one hits hard.
Well, and I think that's a testament to exactly what we're talking about, though. We can beat our heads on a wall trying to help somebody over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
It's not always going to work out, man. Even Christ, without question, the greatest person to have ever lived.
I had to make sure I wasn't going to roll over those. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but they bounced and landed way over there.
Christ, without question, the greatest person to ever lived, clearly full, God in the flesh, wasn't able to reach everyone.
No, and he was also crucified by the people that he came here
to love and redeem.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So we are meant to do what God designed us to do as best we can.
Yeah.
In his strength and not our own.
Yeah.
And so that's why I spend time asking God daily.
That's why you also need to not care what people think about you.
100%.
You need to not give a shit what people think about you because, dude, the greatest person to ever walk the face of the earth was given up and crucified by his own people.
Yeah.
The only sinless man to ever walk the face of the earth.
100%.
And he still took that punishment to save those people. All of us.
100%.
Hey, we love y'all. Thanks, few.
Thanks, few.
Thank you for tuning in, man. Come check us out. Bumper Sticker Wisdom.